Hello and welcome to Premier League Live for the first Sunday of the Premier League season. A double header for you today with Brentford Tottenham coming up at 2 o'clock and Chelsea Liverpool, the big one of the weekend, at 4:30. We've already seen 7 Premier League games this weekend. Man City, the champions, winning away at Burnley. Arsenal, the runners-up last season, winning by 2-1 in a narrow win over Nottingham Forest. It was draws for Bournemouth and West Ham in their opening game of the season. Brighton got a comfortable win against Luton, 4-1 at the Amex. And 2 away wins as Everton and Sheffield United, the only 2 home teams on the Saturday to lose. Fulham and Crystal Palace getting the 3 points there, and Newcastle with a thumping victory over Aston Villa on Saturday evening by 5-1. Well, if we can have anything half as entertaining as what we've seen all weekend, we're certain to have a cracking match here at the Gtech Community Stadium in West London. The team news is as follows. Mark Flecken starts in goal for Brentford. They start with a back 5 of Aaron Hickey, new signing Nathan Collins, Ethan Pinnock, Christoph Ayer and Rico Henry in a back 5. In midfield 3 as Christian Norgard captains the team, Vitali Janelt and Matthias Jensen join him in a midfield 3, with a front 2 of Johan Visa and Brian Mbeumo. For the first half of the season, Brentford are without their key striker Ivan Toney. Both Mbeumo and Visa will need to help out a bit more in terms of goal scoring. Ange Postecoglou is the new man on the block in North London, and Spurs have their first team of the season. Guillermo Vicario starts in goal, a back 4 of Emerson Royal, Christian Romero, Mickey van de Ven, the new signing, and Destiny Udogie in defence. A midfield of Yves Bissouma and Oliver Skipp, and James Maddison, another new signing, making his debut this afternoon for Spurs, with a front 3 of Dejan Kulusevski, Richarlison and the new Spurs captain after Harry Kane's departure, Heung-min Son, captains Tottenham for the very first time after being appointed as the new Tottenham captain this week by the manager. So it's a London derby to get these two teams' season underway in a game and a fixture that certainly was not a disappointment last season. We're off to a cracking start in the first Premier League weekend of the season, and let's hope it continues here at the Gtech this afternoon. Kickoff in just a moment. Good afternoon and welcome to LFS for our second Premier League Live of the season. Of course, the opening game of the season, Burnley against Manchester City, was our first game. And we've had an incredible few days. Yesterday was an incredible start to the Premier League weekend of 6 sensational games. And we can only hope to get more of the same here today. And it'll be interesting to see how the new players deal with the Premier League, of course. Just waiting to see. Kickoff is in just a moment. Players just getting the final few bits done for this afternoon. And good afternoon, everybody. We've got Barry M in the chat, and Fun, as always, back. Putting a few in the chat. You, long time, my man. Fun, welcome back to the chat for a brand new season. Reckons a Brentford win. I'll go through my predictions. The prediction show is live on the channel, by the way, if you haven't caught that already. But I have that ready to go. If any questions, keep it up. Can you answer? I chat as I have to go for a bit. Yes. So top 4, I have City, Manchester United, Liverpool, and Arsenal. And bottom 3, I have Luton, Wolves, and West Ham. So that was my predictions. The referee just having a chat with the new Spurs manager, Ange Postecoglou, there in the sidelines. Still waiting to see the kickoff. We're a bit delayed here. Should be going already. Maybe a few communication issues holding us up here from kickoff. Perfect. Of course, we've seen a delay to the early kickoff yesterday between Arsenal and Nottingham Forest. Of course, a half an hour delay due to ticketing problems. at the Emirates. No issue like that here. The stadium is pretty full. It's just the referee. I think there's a few communications issues just getting that checked at the moment. They still haven't made the moves. The referee is having a chat with the players now. The assistants are still on the pitch, so we don't know actually what has happened. There is some sort of delay. Here I can update you on a few scores this afternoon. In the second weekend of the Scottish Premiership, Celtic get the 2 wins from 2. Of course, Ange Postecoglou, former Celtic manager. His former side have got off to a perfect start in the Scottish Premiership. 2 wins from 2, beating Aberdeen by 3-1 this afternoon. Leila Bada opened the scoring. Bojan Mijovski levelled it for Aberdeen. Kyogo scored just before half-time in the first half to make it 2-1 before Matt O'Reilly made sure of the points 6 minutes from time to make it 3-1 to the visiting Celtic. Still a bit of a delay to the start of this game. I have no idea what's happening, and see if we can get a bit more information. We're unsure as to why there is a delay here, but we will let you know. Well, of course, the big story of the day and the big news of the weekend, including involving Tottenham, is of course the departure of Harry Kane to Bayern Munich. Of course, was featured in that Super Cup game in Germany yesterday evening, which Bayern Munich ultimately lost 3-0 to RB Leipzig. And it'd be a big miss to Spurs. Of course, scored over 260 goals for the club in his time. We've just been told kickoff's been delayed. I don't know how long that's been delayed for. The referee's having a chat on the sidelines with the Premier League officials. And his 4th official is there as well. There's a few Premier League representatives here at this game having a chat with the referee, trying to figure out what's going on. Could be a communication issue, or I've no idea what the actual issue is. But nevertheless, we will get underway shortly, hopefully. Well, keep your comments coming in the chat. Anything to ask, anything to fill a bit of time here before we do get the game underway. I'm trying to hear what the actual issue is. There's some sort of hazard. Brentford versus Tottenham has been delayed due to no running water into the stadium. What a strange thing. What a strange... what a strange way to delay a football match. That was weird. They are now doing the coin toss, the 2 captains, Heung-min Son and Christian Norgard. Looked like Brentford won the toss there. Seemed. Well, they are going to switch sides, the 2 teams. So the coin toss is complete. We're getting ever closer to getting this game started. This is not a delay that anybody would have wanted. It's not as bad as what it could be. It's 6 minutes. Could be worse. And we are just readying. The Brentford players in a huddle. Spurs players ready to line up for their brand new season in the Premier League. A brand new manager for Spurs and a couple of new players for Brentford. A couple of swaps in the transfer market to give them a fresh start to the brand new season. And the players take a knee, as all teams are doing this weekend and all matches in the Premier League, to show their support for the No Room for Racism campaign and no room for discrimination. We are underway at the Gtech Community Stadium for this London derby between Brentford and Tottenham. Both teams starting their seasons with not an easy fixture for both, to be fair. And the last time they played each other here, it was a 4-goal thriller, ended in 2-2. Cracking game. Brentford have some early positivity with a ball over the top, but no one running down that right wing. That could be easily recovered by Christian Romero and cleared away by Spurs. Skip. Poor ball by Skip. Given to Mbomo. Now a chance for a cross in and just got away from Jensen. Spurs trying to get it away out of the defence, as they do with Skip. Richarlison gives it away though to Pinnock. Pinnock's ball is straight to Bissouma, but then Bissouma gives it straight back to Brentford. Hickey. Bit of a scramble early on here to get the ball. Here is Aaron Hickey. Down the right for Mbomo. Hickey again. Blocked off by Bissouma that time. Keeps it in play, but Heung-min Son picks it up. Skip. And the debutant James Maddison here at Spurs, of course. Very good acquisition for Spurs, in my opinion. They're just playing it round the back here, Spurs, with their new goalkeeper, who just gets away with one. Pressured high there by the Brentford centre forward. And Spurs do get the throw in, as the last touch did come off the Brentford player. So Spurs throw in, but living dangerously at the back there, the visitors here. And they're in their away kit this afternoon, Spurs, not in their traditional all-white. As Brentford win it high up, and Vissa was threatening, and Mbomo got the header, and there's a clash of heads here. It's Mbomo and Romero that are both down, so we'll have a stoppage here to allow both players to get seen to by their respective medical teams. But it's been a kind of a frantic start from Spurs at the back. They're trying to play that football out from the back of the defence and try and build from the defence, but that high press of Brentford, especially so early on, Brentford applying such a high press that Spurs were struggling to get out, struggling to make the passes out of the defence with Brentford with that high press. It's a quite positive start for Brentford. There's Brian Mbomo and Christian Romero getting a bit of treatment then after that clash of heads. Don't forget, we've more Premier League football to come for you. We've 2 more games after this one. Another game this afternoon, 4:30 kickoff between Chelsea and Liverpool. That's the big game of the weekend. That's the one that's been earmarked for everyone all weekend, of course, with the Moises Caicedo drama, which still continues to go on, by the way. We still have no updates. All the drama about a Chelsea bid, and we're yet to hear any updates on that front. But that game kicks off at 4:30, and we'll certainly be doing a lot of chat about that on that stream later. Plus, we will finish the opening Premier League weekend of the season with Manchester United against Wolves, with a mouth-watering game at Old Trafford on the Monday night. But of course, Wolves have a new manager as well, a new head coach in Gary O'Neill after the departure of Julian Lopetegui just 8 days ago. The departure of Julian Lopetegui. Less than that, actually, wasn't it, this week? Never mind. So both players back up on their feet and back ready to return to action, as there will be a drop ball from the referee here, Rob Jones, for the Spurs goalkeeper. Jerry says, who do you think is going to win? I think this is a perfect game for the opening weekend of the season for these two teams. It's a type of opposition that you're not well, Spurs, I would probably say, expect to win against Brentford. But we know what Brentford can do to big teams, especially here at the Gtech. The likes of Man City and Liverpool were only not just a couple that were fatally wounded here in terms of their defences last season. So they're not an easy team to play against, Brentford. Of course, they beat Spurs last season in May. Brentford at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium by 3-1. Their first win over Spurs in the Premier League. The 4th attempt of doing so. Here's Royal. Bissouma. James Maddison. Battling there was Udogie. Pressured by Jensen and has to go back to Christian Romero, who's under pressure here. The high press again from those Brentford front 2 players. Brandon Bomo and Johan Vissa really pressure in this Spurs back line. Especially the 2 centre-backs seem to be a bit wary at the minute. Not comfortable on the ball just as yet. Here's Maddison. Across to Oliver Skip. Kulishevsky. Royal. Now Maddison in a bit of space. Goes down, but Brentford won the ball fairly, according to the referee, as their keeper, Flecken, clears his lines. Only to Bissouma. Now Udogie. Out to the left is the new Spurs captain, Heung-min Son. Bissouma. Now to Maddison. Skip. Spurs trying to break down this very compact and composed Brentford team. It's been a bitty start to the game with that injury issue and that the clash of heads and the delay to the game. It's been a bit of a stop-start first 6 minutes. Richarlison trying to link up with Bissouma. One back by Nathan Collins, and then his ball out wide to Hickey, goes straight out of play for a Spurs throw. Bissouma. Looking for the crossfield ball. Romero picks it up. Gives it out wide to Skip. To Kulishevsky. And back to Christian Romero. Bissouma. Now Maddison. In a bit of space here. Maddison tries to feed it through for Richarlison, but slight a bit too much pace on that. And get the measure of that shortly. If Maddison keeps getting the ball in those spaces, he just find that pocket of space. And no Brentford player around him. 4 players not within a single 2 meters of him. And he just found the space, tried to thread it through for Richarlison. And just luckily for Brentford, they had players in the way. Collins. Hickey. Nathan Collins, of course, has had started the season, the last 2 seasons, with a brand new club. Of course, joined Wolves the start of last season, and is now the new Brentford centre-back this season, the Irish international. And they spent £23 million on Nathan Collins this summer, Brentford. Spurs have a corner. Nathan Collins put that ball behind for the corner. So an early chance for Spurs from the left. Right-footed from Maddison, right across. And Flecken missed it, but Brentford got heads there. Kulishevsky with a cross. Flick on by Romero, and that's behind for a goal kick from Spurs. It was a bit nervy there from Mark Flecken in the Brentford goal. Just looked a bit nervy. Tried to come for it, completely missed it, and luckily he didn't get punished for that. Of course, the loss of a massive goalkeeper, a massive player for Brentford, of course, David Raya, going to Arsenal. Here's Son. Maddison. Nice feet from Maddison, and it's taken down there by Matthias Jensen, and that'll be a free kick to Spurs, just on the edge of the box on that far left-hand side. Really cute feet from Maddison. That's really clever. Just steps in front of the Brentford player, Matthias Jensen, and bought the foul there. Very good play. So Brentford have to defend a free kick. It'll be James Maddison that won it. James Maddison to take it. What can Spurs offer from this set piece? 10 minutes in, still 0-0. Spurs have a chance to change that. Madison, right-footed, right across and in! And it's Christian Romero. They do have a threat from set pieces, Spurs. And they have their first goal of the new season from a set piece. 10 minutes in here at the Gtech, and Spurs are ahead from a James Madison free kick. And Christian Romero there to meet it, to fire it past Mark Flecken in the Brentford goal. Although, maybe there's an offside problem here. It might be an offside. It looked very tight. It's a lovely header. No chance for Mark Flecken to stop that, but it looked like Richarlison pushed Christian Romero onto the ball. We'll actually wait and see. VAR are checking for a possible offside, so this could be ruled out. See this again. I think this is going to be off. From what I can see from that angle. We'll keep it. We'll see it again because Romero is leaning so far forward that it's so tight that there might be the leg of a defender maybe keeping him on, but it's very, very tight. They are checking it, VAR. So Spurs have scored and it was given on the field, but VAR are just making sure that it's factually correct. But they're probably drawing the lines and doing all the due diligence to make sure that this is a goal. If it is, it will be a really good start to Spurs' season. Really good start to the game after they've probably been second best in the early minutes. But VAR are still checking this. They've just zoomed in on the picture, the still image, so they're obviously drawing the lines to get a conclusive answer. It looks so tight. It looks like the leg of one of the Brentford players is just outstretched enough that he might be on. But it depends as to where the last contact is. And I think they've given it. The verdict is onside. So Spurs do lead. And they have their first goal of the season. Well, they do, yeah. That took a lot longer than it should have. So the goal stands. Christian Romero is the first player to score for Tottenham in this new season and under the Ange Postecoglou era in North London. Christian Romero from a James Madison free kick. Lovely header. And now they're trying to sort a few things. There might be a head injury here. See, this is what I was wondering, because as soon as Christian Romero celebrated when he scored, the players surrounded him and looked a bit concerned about a head injury. But he will get a bit of treatment. I don't know if he's coming off the pitch. I think he will. They're making the change. There you go. So score a goal and then you get taken off. Christian Romero is on the sidelines now. He's on the bench. He's been taken off and replaced by Davinson Sanchez as we get back underway here. Wow. There you go. Well, of course, better safe than sorry in terms of head injuries. It's good to see. Afon says, hello, Alaves, long time. Who do you think is top four and who's bottom three? Oh, you must have been here earlier. I read that earlier. Anyway, top four, Man City, Liverpool, Man United, Arsenal, and bottom three, Luton, Wolves, and West Ham. So, Ange Postecoglou's era at Spurs is off to a good start, but Brentford can always come back, as they did in the last game between the two teams. Harry Kane opened the scoring in the last match. Of course, he's not here anymore. And Brentford came back and scored 3 straight goals without reply to win 3-1 on the last game between these two. So Brentford with a throw-in on the right-hand side, looking for an instant response. And they're going to go for the long throw. See how Spurs deal with this. They've got height. Oh, there's a bit of scramble and there's a push in there. It is cleared away by Spurs. A few jeers for a possible penalty shout, but I don't think there is any claims of that, to be fair. As Brentford have it at the back then. Had to recover. Oh, bit nervy there as Kulishevsky puts a challenge in. And Royal couldn't keep the possession as Brentford now have a counter. And Burmo threads a through ball. Here's Johan Vissa. Johan Vissa with a crossfield. Still trying to work it. Bit of a scramble there from Brentford. Here's Johan Vissa. And the shots from Brian and Burmo saved out for a corner. Much better from Brentford. They worked it on the counter-attack. They fed the ball through the middle. Bit of a scramble. They recycled it beautifully. Johan Vissa just drives into the box. Gives it out wide for Brian and Burmo on the left. And who just fires one with his left foot. Right at the Spurs goalkeeper, Vicario. And a decent parry from him to put it out for a Brentford corner on the left-hand side. Of which Matthias Jensen will take. Right-footed corner at the front post. Cleared away. Here's Mbomo. Jensen. Now Janelt. Mbomo with a cross. Looking for a header. Cleared away. Hickey has it on the edge. Hickey takes a strike. There's a slight deflection there. That'll be another corner. Much better from Brentford. Looked like they're really fired up to get this leveler on quick terms. That was not the best of strikes from Aaron Hickey, but it got them the corner on the right-hand side. Fun says, I personally think that Luton will overachieve. Nah, I don't know. After what I've seen against Brighton yesterday, although it's only the first game of the season, they just look a bit naive defensively. As this corner comes in, it's a deep one to the back post, headed across, kept alive, overhead kick, and Vicario was there to catch it. It was Johan Vissa. It had the technique perfect. The pace was just lacking on it to get it past Vicario in the Spurs goal. Royal. Here's Bissouma. Out to Adoge. Nice Son. Back to Bissouma. Across to Davinson Sanchez. Kulishevsky. Royal. Bissouma. Brentford packing out the middle of the pitch with bodies. Kulishevsky. Spurs struggling to find a way through at the moment. They've really compacted, and then when Spurs try and get there, they close it down. But that's lovely from Yves Bissouma. Tried to feed it through for Richarlison. Similar to what Madison did around 15 minutes ago. It's a nice move. They broke into that space. They just beat the press and tried to feed it in behind for Richarlison, but Flecken was quick to come for it. As Collins clears his lines, and at a header at the back from Spurs, Adoge sees it for a Brentford throw. They take it quickly. Ball in behind. Lovely crossfield ball. Brought down nicely by Henry. Henry with the cross. It's free in the box. And Brian and Burmo just slightly behind the ball. And Spurs just about got it cleared. Looked like a golden opportunity. A lovely cross from Rico Henry. But now, here's Kulishevsky on the break for Spurs. Only red bodies around him. And that goes out of play. It's really good from Brentford defensively there to recover. The Spurs try to force a counter, but they win themselves a throw-in. Hit and run guy says, Luton are stick on for relegation. Yeah, I think so. Fun says, I mean, we all know that, but I think they will overachieve and may end up close to safety. Oh, so you still think they'll go down, but they will be one of the teams that will be in a battle till the very end. Fair enough. I still say Luton will finish bottom. Here's Mbomo. Trying to link up again. Last touch off a Spurs player. of Udogie. Brentford corner. The protest there from Destiny Udogie. But the referee got it right. Just seeing the replay. It was a very tight one. It was close call, but it was the last touch of Udogie. So Brentford have a corner on the right-hand side. 20 minutes gone. Spurs lead from a Christian Romero header. And Brentford have been pushing ever since to get a leveller. Another ball into the box. Right all the way through. And almost finding the net, but luckily there Vicario for Spurs was quick to react. It was just a nothing ball, just bounced all the way through. None of the Spurs players could get it away. I couldn't see if it was Christian Norgard that was on the end of it, but Vicario did just enough to get it to be there just in time to catch the ball. Brentford looks so threatening from those crosses. A real danger zone, something that Ange Postecoglou will have a look at and try and prevent from now on. Sanchez to Bissouma. Bissouma with a switch ball. Intercepted by Hickey, but the header goes out of play for Spurs throw on the left-hand side. Udogie, now to Son. Udogie again, but beaten there by Nathan Collins. Strong defensively there, Nathan Collins. And cute, intricate passes from Brentford. Lovely to beat the press of Spurs. Really good play. Now comes Ayer to Henry. Rico Henry looking for the switch ball. Perfect to Mbomo. Feeds it through for Jensen. Jensen goes down. Referee waves away any penalty shouts. I don't know about that one. I think that might be very close. Need to see a replay, but Richarlison has it here for Spurs. We play on. I'm sure VAR will be having a look at it. Whether we'll see any further action, we'll have to wait and see. Kulishevsky. Royal. Madison. Spurs in possession here as we await any outcome of a VAR check. The referee just had his hand to his ear there for a moment, but we're still playing here. Spurs in possession. Royal. Out to Kulishevsky on the right. A nice 1-2. Royal with the cross. Hickey there to defend and just about get it clear. And the ball out of play, and VAR are having a look. And the referee's been told to pause the game as the ball's out of play, so they will have a check for a possible penalty. From the first look, I thought it was a foul on Matthias Jensen. We'll have to see a replay. Again, it's Mbomo, threads it lovely through for Jensen. He tries to cut back, and it's the retreating Heung-min Son. I mean, he turns the opposite direction, and they're going to have a look at it. Rob Jones has been told to have a look. So, Rob Jones going to the screen to review it after a VAR recommendation to do so. I think it's a penalty. Because Heung-min Son, the contact from Son on Jensen causes the player to go down, which is a penalty. It catches him as he's on the spin and takes the player out. I think that's a penalty. The referee is checking it. He waved it away initially, Rob Jones, but points to the spot, and Brentford have a penalty. Heung-min Son, the new captain, makes a defensive error and gives it away, a penalty for Spurs. Brentford have a chance to level it from the penalty spot, and they're without probably the most reliable penalty taker in Premier League football, Ivan Toney. They have to put someone else up to try and level it for them. Yeah. It's one of those ones where it's a definite... I mean, it's not malicious in any way. It's just Son just makes a slight mistake, ticks the player out, and it's a foul, so it's a penalty. Simple as that. So, Christian Norgard has the ball in his hand. Looks like he might be the man to take it. No, he's just giving it to Brian Mbermo. So Mbermo will take it, looks. The Spurs keeper arguing something. Don't know what he's arguing, but has to get on his line. Referees take no arguing now. So Brian Mbermo to step up for Brentford. To bring parity back to this game of the Gtech. Brian Mbermo up against Vicario. Mbermo steps up and scores! Lovely finish by Brian Mbermo. Cool as you like. Ivan Toney-esque. And it's a left-footed just into the opposite corner. The keeper dived into the bottom left corner. And Brentford are level. 1-1. Really good penalty. Just waited until Vicario dived one way and just slotted the ball in the opposite corner. Brian Mbermo levels it up for Brentford here. And cheers, as you can expect, right around the Gtech Community Stadium. 1-1. Well, this is proper football, this. We love to see it. Well, of course, Brian Mbermo scored 2 goals in the last game between these two. Scored the equalizer against Spurs in May. And also scored the next goal to put Brentford ahead. You never know. History might be repeating itself. Looks like some of the backroom staff from both sets of teams here have been booked. Ryan Mason, the Spurs assistant, and one of the Brentford assistants as well have both been booked by the referee, whatever that's about. Bit of dissent, something of that ilk anyway. As we will game back underway, and we will have Mark Flecken then to take a goal kick for Brentford. So 1-1 here at the Gtech. Flecken with the long ball. Vissa was targeting the header, but Sanchez won it. And Vissa wins the second ball, but his pass is out of play for a throw-in. Fontes, who scored for Brentford, it was Brian Mbermo scored the penalty. Brian Mbermo. Now it's a chance for Spurs to try and respond again. Madison. Bissouma. Sanchez. Kulishevsky. Davinson Sanchez. And Spurs keeper was also booked. We're just hearing. Vicario for all that arguing and delaying to the penalty. So he has also been booked, the Spurs goalkeeper. That's a Brentford throw. Last touch off Emerson Royal. Be interesting to see how Spurs respond to this, of course. They were quite flaky last season when things were going against them. They didn't really have that comeback ability in many games. One game that comes to mind, though, that they did have comeback ability in was the game away at Anfield against Liverpool. They ended up losing that game as well, but never mind. We move on from that for Spurs' point of view. Davinson Sanchez. Looking for a ball in behind for Kulishevsky. He's got Rico Henry to battle with here. Plays it infield to Emerson Royal. Across to Adoge. Madison with the ball in, but too much on that one from James Madison. And we'll run out for a goal kick to Brentford. Well, a lot of talk about the impact that Harry Kane's departure is going to have on Spurs. Will they have the players to step up and replace those goals that they'll be missing? Of course, 25 goals, I think, was last season. He scored an incredible amount of goals that he scored for Spurs. That'll be a huge miss. And whether they can have players to step up, as Johan Viss has made a run in behind here. Johan Vissa! Really good challenge by Davinson Sanchez. Last-ditch challenge, and they win the goal kick, Spurs. It's a lovely run by Johan Vissa. Find the space. Tried to use his pace to run in behind, but a lovely recovery by Davinson Sanchez to deny him a shot on goal. Emerson Royal. Skip. Kulishevsky. Well, Emerson Royal's taken up more of that a midfield role, similar to what Man City do with their fullbacks. The right fullback is kind of pushing into midfield a bit more, pushing them into the centre of the pitch. More as a kind of extra midfielder rather than a fullback. But the thing is, so far, they're being caught down that side a few times so far, Spurs. They need to find that balance of getting the benefits of having an extra midfielder, but also the dangers of having one less defender in little space. Brentford have a free kick here, fouled by Sanchez on Rico Henry. Just see the replay of it, yeah. Actually a foul on Vitaly Janelt. And Rico Henry got himself involved, trying to recover the ball. Vicario with a clearance from that free kick. Nicely won by the Brentford captain Norgard. Jensen gives it away to Bissouma. Can't win it back. Here's Yves Bissouma. That's a terrible ball. Just a bit... haven't clicked so far, Spurs, in those possession-based passes. They're just passing it around and then they're not crisp enough yet. Just making a few silly passes and giving away throw-ins and set pieces. Just need to build up a head of steam, have a bit of possession, comfortable possession, to kind of build up the confidence of the team so far, especially after that setback from the penalty. Skip. Kulishevsky. Bissouma. Edogi. Now to Madison. Tried to thread it through for Son, but Hickey was there quick enough. And Collins keeps it in. Collins back to Hickey. Hickey broke into a nice space here, linking up with Mbomo. Kept in by Jensen, and the run from Vissa. And Vicario's come out here. And the clearance is quite poor, but it goes out for a Brentford throw. The right-hand side. Looks a bit nervous, Vicario, so far as well. Not that a bit void of confidence so far, a bit nervy. And the Spurs goal, that's the last thing you want as a nervous goalkeeper. Of course, both teams trying to come to grips with losing their number ones from last season. Of course, David Raya for Brentford and Hugo Lloris for Spurs. Edogi out wide to Son. Not seen much of Heung-min Son so far, other than that penalty that he gave away. Madison, who's been heavily involved. Already got an assist for his new club. Sanchez. Kulishevsky. Richarlison, lovely link up. Here's Emerson Royal. Across to Son, blocked. And Brentford get it away. It was a lovely approach play by Spurs. Nice, cute, intricate football. Richarlison and Royal, lovely link up, but the ball to Son. and Son couldn't control it and deal with it. There's another foul here. As Davinson Sanchez committing another foul, and the referee's had enough. And Sanchez, the first outfield player to go into the book. Which is fair enough. Made a challenge for the ball. Missed the ball, took the man. And I think there's also a yellow card here for James Maddison for protests. He was arguing with the referee. And that's where, if you don't agree with the referee, if you're having a problem with the referee and argue with the referee, you run the risk of going into the book. And that's exactly what's happened with James Maddison there. As Vissa bricks down the left-hand side. Lovely chance. And it's 2-1. And it's Johan Vissa. And I think there was a deflection in there somewhere. But it's deja vu again. Spurs go 1-0 up like they did in May. And Brentford come all the way back. They're so good at those breakaway chances. It's the cross from the left-hand side from Rico Henry. So the low bobbling cross, and the strike from Johan Vissa, it's not the best. It's not one of his best, and it's Mickey van de Ven, the debutant for... Well, there you go. Spurs 2-1 down here at the Gtech. My goodness me. Well, even without Harry Kane, they still remain that title of being Spurs. They never know what to do when they take the lead in a game. They always wilt. I guarantee you now, they will come back. They will get the next goal in the game because they're behind. They always do. But Brentford, credit to them. They conceded an early set piece and their heads didn't go down. They knew what they needed to do, followed the game plan to a T, and Thomas Frank again, really, really good tactical football from him. Really good tactical setup. Limited Spurs to few and far between. Many, very little chances, or very good chances so far. Very little of them. And that's what sees Brentford 2-1 up. And there were questions before the game whether Brentford had enough firepower in their team. Well, Brian Mbeumo and Johan Vissa are showing that this afternoon, both on the score sheet for Brentford. Spurs, on the other hand, we're still yet to see the evidence of them having the firepower after Harry Kane's departure. They've only got one goal so far. More to come, I'm sure. That ball in behind. Rico Henry has to defend and does defend and wins the free kick. Off Kulishevsky there. Fun says North London is red for this reason. Well, indeed. I would agree with you. It's lovely run by Rico Henry. Holds off the challenge of Emerson Royal, who followed him all the way. And just to find that cross, when the ball was bouncing, bobbled into the box. Johan Vissa totally unmarked in the 18-yard box. A slotted left-footed strike, and it just bounces off the foot of Mickey van de Ven over his goalkeeper and into the net. Awful defending from Spurs' point of view, but that's Brentford making their hard work count. Free kick given here to Spurs. They take it quickly as Udogie runs down the left. Here is Udogie. Son with a cross. Comfortable into the hands of Mark Flecken. And the Brentford goal. No real threat there from Spurs. Well, of course, stay with us. For the second half, we will get the team news from Stamford Bridge at around about 3:30 this afternoon. From that one, be interesting team news. Neither team will have Moises Caicedo in their team this afternoon or involved. Neither have signed him as of yet. Still clueless as to what is actually happening in that front. As Brentford break away again, and Bomo trying to feed through Vissa, but he's quick, but he's not that quick. And Vicario deals with it as Spurs carry it away with Madison. Threaded out wide to Kulishevsky. Struggle to get their wide players into the game so far, Spurs. Adogi beaten off the ball. Nicely won by Norgard. Here's Jensen. Down the line, lovely from Norgard to Jensen again. Jensen with a switch ball. Nicely taken by Rico Henry. Skip wins it back though. Gets it to Kulishevsky. Heavy ball by Kulishevsky, given away to Brentford again. Vissa tried to thread that one, and Kulishevsky was there to intercept that. A lot of turnovers in possession in the last few moments. Game's hanging in the balance as it stands. Brentford with the slight advantage on the scoreline. Still a very, very long way to go. Here's Bissouma. Tries to go from distance. There is a deflection on it. And that's smart goalkeeping from Mark Flecken to keep it in and take the catch. As I mentioned, we do have another game to come this evening, or this afternoon. Chelsea against Liverpool, the big game of the weekend. Heavily anticipated since the fixtures came out 2 months ago. And what a way to start the season. And the opening weekend, Chelsea taking on Liverpool today, 4:30 on LFS. Premier League Live. We have just over 2.5 minutes of the first 45 to go. God knows how long we will have added time. We had an injury issue. We had a substitution. We've had 3 goals. So it's been a pretty busy first half. We'll probably see a good amount of minutes. Here's Heung-min Son. Another cross. Headed away in there by Christoph Ayer. Now Bissouma. Lovely block by Vissa. And wins the free kick off Yves Bissouma there. So Bissouma penalised there, and free kick given to Brentford. One thing Brentford have been good at is getting bodies in the way of Spurs and then winning the ball in those areas. Really, really good so far from Brentford. Very impressive. Henry. Ayer. Back to Flecken. Under pressure from Richarlison. Flecken tries to get it out from the back, and Spurs actually help out Brentford. And now here's Norgard on the break. And he's trailed down there by Oliver Skip, and he is another player going into the book. Spurs doing challenges like this. Oliver Skip just pulls him right back, and another player in the book this afternoon. That's now 3 Spurs players booked this afternoon. Vicario, Madison, and Oliver Skip. Oh, and Davinson Sanchez as well. So 4, actually. Forgot about Sanchez. So 4 Spurs players in the book at the moment. 30 or so seconds to go before we'll see how long it will be added on, as we have this Brentford free kick. Jensen to take. Floats it over the top. Flicked on by Ayer. Headed away by Spurs as Kulishevsky tries to push Spurs on a counter charge. And Bissouma gets it to Kulishevsky. Nice Son on the right-hand side this time. And Spurs have no time. And we will have... Did I see that right? 11 minutes. They're having a laugh. 11 minutes in first half football. 11 added minutes. Whatever. There was a VAR check as well. I expected 5 or 6, not 11. Well, there we go. We're not stopping anytime soon. 11 added minutes. I've never seen that before. That is ridiculous. Emerson Royal. That's crazy. Sanchez. Van de Ven. Davinson Sanchez. Skip to Royal. Sanchez. Kulishevsky. Royal again. Nice skip. In behind for Son. Really good defending there on that side. I think that was Johan Visa getting back and defending against Heung-min Son, and that will be a Spurs throw on the right-hand side. Jerry says it's back and forth football, end to end. Spurs have the possession, and they've probably dominated the possession, I would say. Yes, 66% possession for Spurs, but Brentford don't want the ball. They know Spurs will have the ball. They're just taking their opportunities on the break. All of Brentford's opportunities have come on the counter-attack, and it's working for them. They're ahead in this game, so that's all that matters is the scoreline. But Spurs dominating possession, struggling to really create chances in possession. They're not moving the ball quick enough. They're making those slow passes, and Brentford have bodies in the way to deal with it. This is better. Adogi tried to put the cross in, and Collins was there to block it and clear it away. Van de Ven. Son to recover. Bissouma. Royal. Central of the pitch there, Emerson Royal. To Skip. Now to Kulishevsky. Makes his way over to the right here, Emerson Royal. Allows Kulishevsky to come in field. To Sanchez. And now Adogi. Son. And Kulishevsky. They're struggling to work it into the box at the moment, Spurs. Madison with a cross. Falls to Son. And wide of the post. It looked dangerous from Heung-min Son, but it didn't find the back of the net. That was a good chance for Spurs. The only player that's really breached the Brentford defence so far has probably been James Madison. With those crosses. Just finds the ball into the box. Richarlison gets the flick on, and Son is there at the back post to strike at it. Left-footed and completely mishits it. And sliced it right out of play for a goal kick to Brentford. Spurs have possession again through Bissouma. Now to Son. They have a movement here. Son has bodies ahead of him. But then he goes back and Brentford recover. But only momentarily. Here's Royal to pick up the loose ball. Out wide for Kulishevsky. Up against Henry. Goes back to Royal. Bissouma trying to find Royal again, but Ayer was with the clearance and followed up by Jensen. Oh, picture broke up there. Madison goes down, distance, goal! Really good goal by Emerson Royal. Sweet strike from distance, edge of the box, and it just snuck past Mark Flecken in the Brentford goal, and we have parity again. Brentford 2, Spurs 2. They finally breached that defence from open play, and it's Emerson Royal of all players to level it again. It's the half clearance by Ayer. It's battled away. Jensen can't clear it. Bissouma linking up with Madison. Madison with the ball right across. Royal's completely unmarked. Brentford can't get bodies in the way quick enough. And he just a clean strike with the right foot. Bobbles into the bottom corner. No chance for Mark Flecken. Couldn't get there quick enough. Brentford 2, Spurs 2. top quality first half this of Premier League football, and we still have another 6 minutes to go of it. Spurs back level, 2-2. Well, there was goals galore in quite a few games. Well, the main game yesterday between Villa and Newcastle, and it's goals galore here. 4 goals in the first half. Almost could be 5. Jensen to Mbomo. Mbomo in the box with the cross back post. And a strike from distance, but there's a free kick given away in there. Rico Henry with the foul. So free kick Spurs. Almost an instant response there from Brentford. Well, I told you Spurs would win their way back into the game. I told you they would. I knew that they would be back. Because that's always the Spurs way. They go behind and then they somehow find a way to level it from absolutely nowhere. And then they still end up losing the game. We will see if they do that today. Richarlison. Kulusevski. Can they take the lead again, Spurs? Kulusevski at the byline, cuts it back. Oh, Brentford just get it cleared, half cleared anyway. Richarlison picks it up on the left. And Brentford have the bodies to recover the ball. Collins. Norgard. Nice feinted ball to Jensen, who is taken out again by Yves Bissouma. He must be on his last warning for a couple of those fouls he's committed in this first half. Here's Ethan Pinnock for Brentford. To Collins. Hickey. To Mbomo. Now to Jensen. And last touch off Yves Bissouma. And Jensen wins a throw-in. Collins gets it across to Christoph Ayer. And now Jensen with the ball forward. Out to the left-hand side, but there's no Brentford player out there. Only Emerson Royal, and he will see that out for a goal kick. 3.5 minutes of the first half still to go. Remember, we had 11 additional minutes added on to this first half. We have played just around 8 of those, just coming up to 8 of those at the moment. So still another 3 to go. And we've also had a goal in that extra time, or that additional time, sorry. That's nice from Jensen. Vissa battling with Jensen. And the offside flag goes up against Johan Vissa. So a free kick to Spurs. Udogie misplaces a pass and Brentford have the possession again. At the back. Here's Flecken. To Hickey, who is just fouled there by James Maddison. He can't believe that he was James Maddison, that he had committed a foul there. I think that was a bit of a soft one, but free kick to Brentford at the back. Flecken. Just delaying a bit of time. Oh, not the best of passes, but he got it to Ethan Pinnock, and that ball as Christoph Ayer picks up, and Brentford get the throw. Mind blown, says Richarlison. 8 passes so far. Here comes the front 2 again. It's across and Mbomo! Oh, over the bar. Another golden opportunity for Brentford to take the lead. It's a lovely move. It's Johan Vissa comes deep. The ball over the top from Norgard is beautiful. Finds Rico Henry on the run. And the pace and the perfect cross to the back post from Rico Henry. And perfect for Mbomo to just slot it home. But just leaning back. And it goes right over the bar for a goal kick. Another huge opportunity for Brentford there. Sanchez for Spurs. Clears it long. Pinnock wins the header over Richarlison, but the ball through the middle won by Van de Ven. Now, Royal. Kulishevsky. Emerson Royal. Bissouma. Now Richarlison. A bit quicker from Spurs, this. Maybe they've got the confidence now. 30 seconds of the first half to go. Of the 11 added minutes. Nuts, that is. I don't think we've ever seen that. Might be a Premier League record for the most amount of added time in the first half. Adoge. Madison. Might be a late chance here. Madison across to Emerson Royal. One last delivery. Royal into the box. Headed away by Pinnock. Followed up by Mbomo. And that is the half-time whistle. Rob Jones calls to an end after a 56-minute first half. A VAR check. A penalty. A lot of injury drama as well. There's a lot of stoppages in this first half that caused the 11 minutes. Half-time, it is still level, but 4 goals to get us there. Half-time at the Brentford Community Stadium. It's Brentford 2, Spurs 2.
It's supposed to feel.
Facing an agonising second half.
Your clean sheet pun, Ian, was some of your best work. I'll tell you. I'll say that now. Your puns, you know, the level of them can be mixed, but that was top work. I could even hear as you said it, you were sort of thinking to yourself, "Am I really going to do toilet humour?" And then you went all in.
Yeah, well, I was mindful of the time of day and thinking, you know, if you're listing, you know, people might be heading out for a Sunday roast and thinking, do I need to do it? And then I committed myself. And as you know, sometimes in this, you've got to sometimes you can speak before you think. But yeah. I'm glad that you approved.
No, I know all about that. That was
I
great.
feel flush with success.
That was great, Clinton, and so was your insight about running at pace. Never thought I'd hear that.
Running at pace, yeah. Well, yeah. Me and pace don't go together at this. But when I was younger, yeah, I could run at pace, Crossy. But no, it's a good first half, to be fair. Really good first half, end to end, lots of chances, and the goals ain't finished in this game. That's for sure.
You two can give your pipes a rest then. Clinton Morrison and Ian Dennis at Brentford 2, Tottenham 2. Great first half. Of course, we'll bring you second half commentary on Premier League Sunday. Chelsea-Liverpool to come at 4:30. Celtic beat Aberdeen earlier today in Scotland by 3-1. We've got more to come on the 100 and the Women's Open over at Walton Heath as well. But we'll get the news now on 5 Live with Stuart Clarkson.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Steve, thank you. Good afternoon. 9 people have been injured in Pembrokeshire, 2 of them seriously after a car left the road and crashed onto a campsite. It happened around 10:30 last night at Newgale. One of the injured people was flown by helicopter to hospital in Cardiff. 93 people are now known to have died in the wildfires on the Hawaiian island of Maui. The state's Governor Josh Green has repeated his warning that the numbers are likely to rise significantly. President Biden has declared the fires a major disaster and says the federal government has sent assistance and resources. This resident says supplies aren't reaching those who are most in need.
They're traumatized. They're upset. No one's giving hugs. Do you hear people in the same pads since the fire on Thursday? Kids in the same diapers since Thursday? people without food.
The Home Office says more than 500 people in small boats crossed the Channel yesterday, bringing the total who've made the journey so far this year to 16,700. 6 migrants died when their boat sank off the French coast yesterday morning, leading to more calls for the government to take more action to tackle the crossings. The Conservative MP David T.C. Davies is the Secretary of State for Wales.
The actual numbers coming from France into the United Kingdom have gone down. There's a lot of work that's been undertaken to achieve that. We're working very closely with the French government now to stop boats being launched. Obviously, we haven't stopped them all. It's going to continue to be a problem, but we have stopped a lot. But it is a really difficult problem to completely solve.
Pupils waiting for their A-level results this week have been told grades will be lower than last year. The Education Secretary Gillian Keegan's told the Sunday Times that exam marking is back to normal after the pandemic, so results will be similar to 2019. And pubs in England and Wales will be able to continue selling takeaway drinks after the government decided to keep licensing rules that were brought in during the pandemic. The rules were due to expire at the end of September.
He's a rule breaker, a trendsetter. He reshaped art and redefined graffiti.
How does he smell?
Like paint.
Has he got any distinguishing features?
His anonymity. But who is he?
What's his name?
Banksy.
Apparently I've met him twice.
The Banksy story. Banksy's work is always about the human spirit versus the establishment. Listen first on BBC Sounds.
More live Premier League football than anyone else.
5 Lives Premier League Sunday
With Steve Crossman.
Welcome back. Coming up, second half commentary from the Gtech Community Stadium, where it's Brentford 2, Tottenham 2 in the Premier League, and we'll be at Stamford Bridge shortly to have our first look ahead to Chelsea versus Liverpool. We're bringing that to you in full at 4:30. There's lots of other live sport happening. Let's get the latest from the 100 first of all at Headingley. In the women's competition, the Northern Superchargers beat Manchester Originals by 4 runs. Nikesh Regani has the latest on the men.
Yes, and it's the Manchester Originals men batting first here after winning the toss against the Northern Superchargers, and at the moment it's Laurie Evans on the charge. Reece Topley came in and took a couple of early wickets in a devastating spell in which he removed Phil Salt and Joss Butler, but Laurie Evans has moved on to 30 from just 14 balls, including 3 sixes and 2 fours. Paul Walter with him at the other end. This partnership looking ominous for the Superchargers as the Originals move on to 49 for 2 from 29 deliveries. And as you say, earlier on it was the Northern Superchargers winning by 4 runs. The Originals set a revised target of 113 to win from 80 balls after a little bit of rain earlier on in the afternoon, and it was a thrilling run chase. They looked like they were going to get there right up until the end when the Superchargers managed to close things out. So the women winning here, the home side, and the men under the pump here with the ball. The Manchester Originals now moving on to 53 for 2 after 30 balls.
We're also at Edgbaston today. Birmingham Phoenix, who are winless in the women's competition, face the Oval Invincibles. They also need a win to boost their hopes of making the eliminators, Adam Mountford.
Yes, the 2-time champions Oval Invincibles, where they really could do with a victory today after that poor start to this campaign against the bottom of the table, Phoenix. Well, the Invincibles haven't been put into bat, are 72. In fact, there's another 6 there. 78 now after 60 balls. The Invincibles are without their captain, Darnie van Neerkerk, who today's been ruled out of the rest of the tournament with a thumb injury. New Zealand's Susie Bates takes over as captain. She was stumped off the bowling of off-spinner Katie Levick, not really getting going, opening the batting 9 from 14. And then Levick had the young England star Alice Capsey out. First ball caught behind, but Lauren Winfield Hill dropped on 10. She's going well. She's on 35 from 26, and Marizanne Kapp, the South African star, is on 29 from 20. The Invincibles 78 off 60 balls, Steve.
Thank you very much, Adam. The leaders have started their final rounds in Golf's Women's Open at Walton Heath, and England's Charlie Hull is among them. Cat Downs.
She is. Charlie Hull and Lilia Vu started the day at 9 under par in a share of the lead, but there's been a change at the top of the leaderboard, and it's not good news for the thousands of England fans who've come out to watch Charlie Hull to see if she can land her maiden major title here at Walton Heath. First came a birdie for Lilia Vu at the second, so she took the outright lead on 10 under par, and then a drop shot for Hull on the third. She found trouble to the right of the green and had to settle for a bogey there. So Lilia Vu, the American who won her first major championship at the Chevron in April, she leads by 2. Hull down into a tie for second with Hyo Joo Kim of Korea for now. Ali Ewing, the player whose 5-shot lead was swallowed up and overtaken yesterday, she bogeyed the second. She slips back to 6 under par, 4 behind now. Making moves on the leaderboard a little bit earlier on, Alison Corpuz, the American, the winner of the US Open a few weeks ago. She's back to 1 under for the day. She'd made a good move, but she's dropped a shot, has Corpuz at the 13th, so she moves back to 1 under par. And Nelly Korda, the world number 1, still at 3 under par. She's really struggling with the putter again today. She's 7 shots adrift of the leader, Lilia Vu. Charlie Hull currently in a tie for second. She's just playing out of the heather, so in trouble again, Charlie Hull, down the side of the 4th.
Thank you very much, Kat. You can listen to full coverage right now on 5 Sports Extra. Celtic have beaten Aberdeen 3-1 at Pittodrie already today, so that's 2 wins out of 2 for them in the Scottish Premiership. In the 3 o'clock kickoffs, it's still Hearts 0, Kilmarnock 0 and Motherwell 0, Hibs 0. Kilmarnock who beat Rangers in their first game of the season. Harry Kane says he doesn't want to finish his career with any regrets following his move to Bayern Munich. He made his debut last night in Bayern's 3-0 defeat to Leipzig in the German Super Cup, and Kane has been speaking to the German media for the first time this afternoon.
I've always said in my career I've wanted to keep improving, keep pushing myself to, my limits and see how far that can take me, and ultimately I wanted to be playing at the highest level. I wanted to be playing in the Champions League. I wanted to be fighting for titles every year. Coming to Bayern Munich, one of the biggest clubs in the world, gives me that opportunity. So I'm looking forward to that challenge.
You'll get more on that on the Football Daily podcast later on with Ben Haynes and Nader Manua, who's going to be on a lot during this new season. That'll be available later on tonight via the BBC Sounds app. A couple of other stories for you. Roberto Mancini has resigned from his role as Italy manager, and it looks like Kylian Mbappe is going to stay at PSG for another season, despite the fact he hasn't been training with the first team. He's been in this contract standoff. He's been linked with Real Madrid time and time again. PSG, though, have said that Mbappe has now been reinstated after, quote, very constructive and positive talks. And Fred has joined Fenerbahce from Manchester United in a deal which could be worth up to €15 million. We'll be back to Brentford shortly for second half commentary. When we're done there, 4:30, Chelsea versus Liverpool in full on Premier League Sunday. Maurizio Pochettino takes charge of his first game proper for Chelsea. It's a Liverpool reloaded, according to Jurgen Klopp. Our correspondent John Murray is in position. Afternoon, John.
Hello, Steve.
Absolutely no idea what to expect from these two.
No, but I can tell you that the name that I think is on the lips of everyone who's gathered here already is a young man who we won't see play today, and we don't know where his future lies. Moises Caicedo of Brighton and Hove Albion, and I can tell you that there's currently nothing further to report on his future destination. So yes, as I'm sure listeners will have picked up, that reports are now suggesting that he's very much more likely to land up here at Chelsea than he is at Liverpool, but it is still as it was on Friday morning, in that the only offer that has been accepted by Brighton is that from Liverpool of £111 million, which would be a new football transfer record between British clubs. But whether that changes or not, and whether we'll learn anything more when the two managers here speak before the match, we'll have to wait and see.
Welcome back to the live coverage of Brentford against Tottenham here on LFS. The second half is approaching very quickly. Just to remind you of the results so far this weekend. Man City got their title defence underway with a 3-0 win away at Burnley on Friday night. Saturday's games were also very exciting. Arsenal got off to a winning start against Nottingham Forest. It was draw for Bournemouth and West Ham, 1-1. Brighton got a comfortable victory over Luton at the Amex on Saturday 3 o'clock with a 4-1 win. Everton and Sheffield United both lost at home on Saturday. Fulham and Crystal Palace both got 3 points. Newcastle winning 5-1 against Aston Villa. And at half-time at the Brentford Community Stadium, it's Brentford 2, Tottenham 2. Team news coming from Stamford Bridge in around about 10 or 15 minutes time for their opening game between Chelsea and Liverpool to come, and you can watch the live audio commentary and match mapping of that one today at 4:30 here on LFS. The second half at the Gtech Community Stadium is on the way next. Right then, ready to go for the second half. And we are underway with the result still hanging in the balance here at the Gtech. 2-2, and an incredibly exciting first half with 4 goals, a penalty, and a lot of VAR drama as well. There was a lot to go through in that first half. I hope that the second half is anywhere near as exciting. Would be a privilege. Here's Vicario then for Spurs. Can Spurs kick on? They might have the momentum after scoring the last goal of the half, getting back level. Here's Madison. Skip. Just to Royal, who scored the second Spurs goal of the afternoon. Across to Bissouma. Madison. Out wide to Royal. Back in field to Madison. Madison looking for the cross, but blocked and cleared away by Brentford. And they will have time to push out and build back Brentford into spaces. And we will see, the interesting thing for both these teams is who will have the more resolve in the second half to push for it, who will have the stronger bench as well. Of course, a lot of substitutes might come into play. Who have the stronger bench, of course. I would probably just go the way of Brentford, but with big changes from the bench, but you never know. It's on the pitch that it matters. Here's Heung-min Son on the left. Madison. Finds Skip. Skip on the edge, trying to open it up for a shot. Finds it to Madison. Madison takes this shot, but it's half decent, if that. And straight into the hands of Mark Flecken in the Brentford goal. There's an issue for one of the Brentford players, Matthias Jensen. He's gone down, felt something in his legs, so he's getting a bit of treatment at the start of this second half. We will see. They've got strength and depth in that midfield, Brentford. They've got a lot of options that can come off the bench and replace any injured players. It's not much work they needed to do to that midfield over the summer. Looked pretty comfortable and strong. I'll keep you up to date with 2 Scottish Premiership games as well in the second half. Hearts against Kilmarnock and Motherwell against Hibs are the 2 games in the Scottish Premiership. There will be a change coming here for Brentford. It looks like Matthias Jensen is coming off. His race will be run, and it will be Mikkel Damsgaard will be his replacement. So Damsgaard replaces Matthias Jensen. Matthias Jensen, who's had a very good impact in that midfield in the first half, has been heavily involved in the action, and he is replaced by Mikkel Damsgaard. So an injury substitution for both teams, of course. Now, of course, Tottenham lost Christian Romero in the first half. And Matthias Jensen makes way in the second half for Brentford. Flecken to Aaron Hickey. Pressured on the ball by Udogie, and there's a bit of battling there, and Hickey is the one that's penalised for the foul on Destiny Udogie. Mickey van de Ven. Udogie. Back to Van de Ven. All the way back to Vicario in the Spurs goal. Sanchez. He's on a yellow card. The Spurs keeper is also on a yellow card as the press from Brentford is applied. They do get out of the way, but Brentford recover the ball. Here's Mbeumo. Feeds it in behind for Norgard. Norgard looking for the cross. And blocked that time by Bissouma. And that was a decent move by Brentford. The high press worked. Forced the keeper into a bit of a panicked pass. And they recovered the ball, and nice link up between Mbeumo and Norgard there. But it came to nothing, and a goal kick for Spurs was the outcome. Taking his time. Vicario there at the back. Under pressure. Gets it to Sanchez. Sanchez with the ball forward. Richarlison comes deep to win the header. Almost gives it away, but does keep possession just about. Richarlison. Sanchez to Bissouma. Madison. Taken out there by Damsgaard. Free kick to Spurs. And now Spurs take that free kick. Udogie. Heung-min Son, who in an attacking sense for Spurs has been quite comfortably dealt with by Brentford so far. Not been a major threat. Heung-min Son. Neither has Dejan Kulusevski. I made the point in the first half they were struggling to get the wide players into the game. Here's Richarlison. Nice feet. Richarlison breaks into the box. Richarlison looking for the cross. Blocked by Hickey. And out for the corner. It's better from the Spurs number 9. He done really well. You know, he's not known for his hold-up play, but that was very good. Held the ball up and spun away from the defender, broke into the box and tried to find a cross. It's exactly what Spurs will be expecting from their number 9. Harry Kane-esque, that. I wouldn't go that far. Corner from the left. Deep one. First header by Sanchez, but then Ayer at the back post has to put it behind for another corner as he was under pressure. So Spurs will have another chance at a delivery, but from the opposite side this time. It will be Madison that will trudge all the way over to the other side to take it. Of course, Spurs had the most goals from corners and headers last season. 13 from corners, 16 headed goals. So they are a threatening side on set pieces, Spurs, especially corners. It's a right-footed out-swinging corner. Half cleared, and the follow-up shot there from Dejan Kulusevski was a wayward one behind for a goal kick. Well, Brentford are without Ben Mee this afternoon. Just seeing pictures of him on the sidelines. It's not seen the full idea of what his injury is, but he is out. He played all but one Premier League game last season, Ben Mee. He'll have to be back for the next game if he's going to match that record this season. He's already missing this one. Speaking of next games, Brentford head to Fulham next. Another London derby for Brentford. They have 3 London derbies to start their season away at Fulham before they come back here to face Crystal Palace in 2 weeks' time. Spurs, on the other hand, have a tough task. They host Manchester United in their first home game at 5:30 next Saturday evening. So a tough test for Ange Postecoglou to start the season. Not given an easy ride at it. Madison. Udogie keeps possession. Gets it to Royal. Now out on the right, here's Kulishevsky on the run. Up against Rico Henry again. Cuts back. Infield to Royal. Royal with the ball in. Flicked on by Norgard and falls down to Richarlison with a heavy touch. Gets away from him. And just about Nathan Collins dealt with it. He was under a lot of pressure from Richarlison. It's a cross from Royal. It takes a deflection off the head of Norgard, and then Nathan Collins just under pressure from Richarlison to get it cleared. Goes behind for a Spurs corner on the left-hand side. So Madison with the corner from the left. And it's right in the danger zone, but much more comfortable for Mark Flecken there, who got a simple catch on the ball from the corner. Rolls it out to his centre-back, Christoph Ayer. Rico Henry. Janelt trying to break the lines. Does recover the ball just about. Gets it to Henry, who kept it in play. Ayer trying to link up with Vissa, but Spurs win it back through Emerson Royal, and that will go out for a Spurs throw. Still 2-2. 10 minutes gone in this second half. Spurs again dominating possession, but Brentford not looking vulnerable defensively as of yet. Van de Ven. Sanchez. Mickey Van de Ven. James Maddison. Spurs comfortable possession in the Brentford half, as they did in the first half. Kulishevsky trying to feed it in behind for Richarlison, who's putting pressure on Ethan Pinnock. And Pinnock holds strong, holds firm, and clears his lines. I think the ball had gone out of play, so Spurs get a throw in. Here's Bissouma. Kulishevsky in a tight space, trying to force it through to Skip. And that ball goes out of play. Another Spurs throw. Their dominance seems to be unnerving Brentford a bit. On a few of those occasions, they seem to be pressuring the defence a bit better, Spurs, than they did in the first half, because Brentford comfortably cleared the ball in the first half, but they just struggling to do so in the second half. It's giving Spurs a bit of confidence. Sanchez. Royal. Kulishevsky. Nice cross. Hickey there to head it away and followed up by Pinnock. And then the third clearance, the decisive one, away by Brentford. But Spurs recover it through their goalkeeper, Vicario. We will get team news from Stamford Bridge in just a second. It is 3:30, so we'll get the teams confirmed for you in a moment for that game. We will be live for that game, live commentary of that one to come at 4:30. Kickoff at Stamford Bridge. Lovely move by Vissa. Cross in, headed away by Vicario, saved, and a chance for the follow-up from Damsgaard, but it's a save by Vicario. Double save from the Spurs goalkeeper. It all starts down the left-hand side. It's a lovely ball. Johan Vissa with a beautiful touch infield of Royal. And it's his cross is cleared away, parried away by Vicario. It falls to Damsgaard, who takes a strike at it, but lacking the power in the strike from Damsgaard. And that could have been a threat for Brentford. Could have been dangerous from a Spurs point of view to deal with. Here's Rico Henry to intercept the Spurs pass. Damsgaard. Nice touch by Hickey. Gets it out wide to Mbeumo. Mbeumo looking to feed it into the box. Headed away by Royal. And Bissouma gets it to Richarlison, but then nicked away from him. And here's Johan Vissa. Feeds it across. Henry trying to cross it. Spurs just get it away again. And that's lovely from Yves Bissouma to carry it away. Nice Spurs on the break. Oliver Skip. Out wide on the right is Kulishevsky. He's got bodies in the box. Kulishevsky across to Son. trying to work a space. Bissouma, Kulishevsky, Royal. Kulishevsky at the byline, cuts it back. Right across, Skip was there. And the deflection takes it out for a corner to Spurs. Really fast-paced last 2 moments at both ends of the pitch. It's exactly what we saw in the first half. End-to-end football. Both teams going for it, giving their all. Spurs have a corner then on the right-hand side. James Maddison, the designated corner taker for Spurs now, will take it on the right-hand side. Right-footed delivery into the box. Another clearance header by Vissa. Picked up by Kulishevsky. Goes for the cross, a bit of a deflection, and Son! Saved by Flecken. Falls back to Son. Son at the byline, cuts it across. Headed away by Collins, and then the follow-up strike from Mickey van de Ven is miles over the bar. That's the first real chance we've seen Son get into a good space. It's the switch ball from Dejan Kulishevsky. It deflects off a Brentford player into the path of Son. He takes a strike at it. Lovely save by Flecken. And then he wins it back from the Flecken save. Gets it to the byline, cuts it back. And it's just headed away, and Spurs couldn't make the most of that, but Brentford holding firm and holding strong to deny Spurs a chance to take the lead for a second time in the game. Still 2-2. And team news coming through from Chelsea and Spurs game. We can read you out the Liverpool team news at the moment, just awaiting the Chelsea team news. I'll get that to you in a second. But the Liverpool team is as follows. Alisson in goal. A back four of Trent Alexander-Arnold, Konate, Captain Van Dijk and Robertson. Midfield is Alexis McAllister, new signing. Szoboszlai also making his debut. And Cody Gakpo with a front three of Luis Diaz, Mo Salah and Diogo Jota. For Chelsea, Robert Sanchez, their debutant, starts in goal. They have a back five of Reece James, Alexis Disasi, Thiago Silva, Levi Colwill and Ben Chilwell. A midfield three of Enzo Fernandez, Conor Gallagher and Carney Chukwuemeka, with a front two of Raheem Sterling and Nicholas Jackson. Those are the two teams from the 4:30 game. We'll give you that game live at around about 4:20 with live audio commentary and live match mapping this afternoon. Exciting lineups ahead of that game. Looking forward to that one, but still no news on Moises Caicedo or where his next destination will be. It will be one of those two clubs. It's just we're uncertain as to who. Nice hold-up play by Son, and he wins the free kick. And also, a yellow card has been taken out here for the Brentford player. Looks like it was Aaron Hickey that is booked. It is Aaron Hickey that was booked for that challenge on Heung-min Son. And Hickey, the first Brentford player to be booked this afternoon. Spurs have 4 players on a yellow card at the moment. And James Maddison to take the free kick then. Spurs open the scoring from a free kick in the first half. It'd be great if, well, from their point of view, it'd be great if they could do it again. Delivery from Maddison. That's a poor delivery. Far too deep. And Mark Flecken, simple enough for him to come out and catch. That's the long throw from the back. Nice run by Mbomo. Trying to beat 3 Spurs players. Goes down. Referee says no foul. And now Spurs will play on with Yves Bissouma. Skip. Kulishevsky back to Bissouma. Royal and Bissouma just playing keep ball there. Maddison. Van de Ven. Spurs in comfortable possession again. Looking to just find the space. That's a lovely ball by Bissouma. Maddison threads it through. Richarlison with a strike. Saved by Flecken. Big save That was Route 1 football right through the middle, through the Brentford team. That's James Maddison to Richarlison again. That link-up is absolutely perfect. And Richarlison with a strike saved by Flecken. That's what Spurs are looking to do. Find the pockets and feed the ball in behind. Royal. Back to Maddison. Maddison left-footed cross. Headed away by Brentford. Van de Ven to follow up. Udogie to take it down on the left. Infield to Son. Son just rides a challenge or two there. Referee says play on. Bissouma. Heung-min Son. Out wide to Udogie. His body's in the box. Cuts it back to Bissouma. Cross. Stolen away by Johan Wissa, who's taken down here by Emerson Royal. So Brentford do really well to anticipate that and win the free kick. A bit too comfortable there from Spurs in possession. Got a bit too lax. And the match result prediction, Tottenham win 56%, 34% say Brentford win, 10% saying a draw. Still the majority of the chat predicting a Spurs win at the moment with the scores level in this game. Brentford have the ball up the left-hand side. Henry. Norgard. Ayer. Rico Henry. Henry with a cross blocked by Royal. Falls back to Norgard. And now Ayer. Pinnock. Back to Collins, who goes all the way back to Mark Flecken. 25 minutes plus additional time to go. Still all square here at the Gtech. Lovely ball from the back to find Henry. Henry to Janelt. Back to Rico Henry. Norgard. Norgard with the delivery. Slight bit too much height in that one. And Vicario deals with it well and gets it cleared. And Spurs will win the throw-in from that last touch off Ethan Pinnock. Bissouma to Royal. Skip. And Spurs have dominated possession and more of the shots, but Brentford have the more XG. The 1.72. Spurs just over 1 XG, 1.02. So both overperforming in terms of in front of goal so far. Both teams. Brentford just edging it at the moment on XG terms. Still level pegging on the score sheet. Sanchez. With the ball in behind, and there was a catch on Davinson Sanchez. It was a press by Brentford, but a bit overzealous there from one of the Brentford players. I think it was Brian Mbomo. So a free kick will be given to Spurs. And Thomas Frank having a chat with a few of his assistants there. Maybe they're eyeing up a few changes. A few fresh legs on. Maybe change the dynamic of the game. Here's Kulishevsky. Cleared away by Collins. Kulishevsky with the follow-up, but then that one's cleared away again by Brentford. Dejan Kulishevsky, third shot at it here. Back to Royal. Bissouma. Nice ball round the corner for Udogie. Took up a middle, central space. Cuts to the byline, cuts it back. Pinnock with the clearance. And Henry battling to get it away, but Skip returns the ball. Really good. Bissouma. Lovely from Bissouma. Bricks past a few Brentford players, and then his pass is blocked. As Brentford try and come away with it, but Vissa's pass is wayward. As Van de Ven picks it up for Spurs. Last quarter of the game. Still 2-2. Here's Vicario. Maddison. battling there with Christoph Ayer. Madison gets aside a throw in on the right-hand side. Ange Postecoglou also having a chat with his coaches. Maybe thinking about fresh legs also. It's that point in the game where a few substitutions would kick a side on and get them from drawing this game to possibly winning it. Here's Bissouma. Richarlison. Out wide on the left is Heung-min Son. Linking up with Udogie. Son at the byline. Trying to break into the box, but that's well defended by Aaron Hickey, who plays the ball down the line for Mbeumo and wins the throw-in. Brian Mbeumo for Brentford. One of those games in the second half where neither team's really been able to command the game with or get anywhere near any more than half chances in this second half. Maybe all the goal scoring was done in the first half of this game. Collins with a throw-in. Brought down by Visa. Collins back to Collins with a switch ball. Nicely taken down. And now Rico Henry has it. That was lovely footwork by Johan Visa. Rico Henry. Pressured by Kulishevsky. Has to go back to Janelt. Now Ayer. Norgard to Pinnock. Gets past Madison. Now Damsgaard puts a lovely ball through for Mbeumo. He's got help there, Brian Mbeumo, but he's being held by Udogie, who's battling really, really well. And that's really good from Destiny Udogie there. Brian Mbeumo tried to get the foul out of him and ends up committing a foul the other way. And really good defending by Destiny Udogie there for Spurs. Wins the side a free kick. Really, really good. It was a lovely ball initially from Mikkel Damsgaard. And good recovery by Udogie to stop Mbeumo breaking into the middle. He held him well and pushed him out wide and got the free kick out of him. So Brentford making quite a few substitutions here. A triple substitution. Get you all the details of those when we have all the full details. But a triple substitution for the home team, who've already made a forced substitution with Matthias Jensen having to leave the field early in the second half through to injury. But 3 tactical subs then. The 3 players leaving the pitch for Brentford are Aaron Hickey, Johan Visa and Christian Norgard. And they're being replaced by Mads Roerslev, Kevin Schade and also Shandon Baptiste. So Hickey, Norgard and Visa out, replaced by Roerslev, Baptiste and Schade for Brentford. So 3 substitutions there. Spurs, I'm sure, will make theirs soon enough. Into the last 20 minutes here at the Gtech. Still 2-2 between these two teams. And we'll have some late drama. I still feel there's a winner in this one somewhere. Couldn't tell you who's going to get it. Still hanging in the balance. Pinnock. Here's Ayer. Damsgaard. Nice ball into the space to find Baptiste. Looking for the ball forward. Lovely. For Schade. Oh, just escaped him in the last second. It was Brian Mbeumo tried to flick it on for Kevin Schade. And Mbeumo did get the touch to it, but it just escaped out of the grasp of Kevin Schade in the end. And Spurs keeper Vicario could recover it. Takes the long kick. Headed down by Nathan Collins. All the way back to Flecken. They're going to make a triple substitution as well, Spurs, in a moment. We'll wait and see that. Here is Collins. That switch ball out to the left. Royal controls it and deals with it. And up against Rico Henry. Here's Skip. Oliver Skip in a bit of a pickle. Gets it back to Mickey van de Ven, who goes back to Vicario in the Spurs goal. And that's gone straight out of play from Vicario to Sanchez. It was poor from Davinson Sanchez, to be fair. Just was too lax to try and get the ball and let it run out of play. I think they're going to make the changes now, Spurs. I'll get the full details of that for you in a moment. Now, one of the players going off, Oliver Skip. You can see that. And he's being replaced. I think that's Pape Sarr. The captain, Heung-min Son, is also coming off. He's just running to the sidelines to be replaced. And Ivan Perisic, his replacement. So a double substitution from Spurs. Skip and Son off, and Sarr and Perisic on. So a double substitution from Spurs. Pinnock with the delivery from the left. Header by Collins. Cleared away by Perisic. His first involvement is a clearance. And now Brentford will have a throw in on the right-hand side. Collins. Foul there on Mikkel Damsgaard. So free kick to Brentford. Foul committed by James Maddison. He's on a yellow card, by the way, James Maddison. Has to be careful. Last 15 minutes of the game, plus any additional time. Still 2-2. And don't forget, we've another game to come for you at 4:30. Chelsea against Liverpool is a 4:30 kickoff. So Damsgaard and Mbeumo over this one for Brentford. Can they convert from this set piece? It's Mbeumo with a left-footed cross. Headed away at the front post there by Bissouma. Damsgaard recovers it. Gets it to Henry. Henry with a switch ball out to the left. Shada with the chest. Up against the Spurs number 9 of Richarlison. Shada's got the pace. He feels he was taken down there, but Spurs recovered it fairly according to the referee. And Bissouma loses out, but the ball cleared away from Spurs. They don't want to take any risks. And back with Mark Flecken for Brentford. Damsgaard. Collins. Long ball out to the left. Kept in there. On that left-hand side by one of the Brentford players. Well, these two teams have the most goals last season. In the last 15 minutes, 16 goals apiece. In the last 15 minutes of games last season, will we see more of that late drama from these two teams this afternoon? I think it's still hanging in the balance. Despite Spurs dominating the possession, I think Brentford have been more effective with their possession so far in the game. And that's why they're level. Here's Udogie out to Ivan Perisic on the left. And Perisic tried to play it infield, but gave the ball away. Unpressured there. Damsgaard. Down the right-hand side. Roshlev looking for an early cross. A bit of a deflection. Shada goes down. Referee says no penalty again. Similar to the one in the first half that Brentford got. Kevin Shada there. It was Mickey van de Ven. Looked a bit nervous at defending that. We'll see this again. It's van de Ven with the kind of... That looks like a penalty for me. See this again. The challenge. Nowhere near getting the ball. And just takes the foot of the man away. A really good centre-forward play from Kevin Shada to try and challenge for the ball. And Mickey van de Ven with the challenge. I'm trying to see if they are checking it. I think they might have. Well, Brentford got a penalty in the first half for a similar kind of challenge. They are checking it at the moment, so the referee hasn't got the game back underway. Rob Jones, VAR are having a look. I think it's a penalty because Mickey van de Ven has none of the ball and takes the man out, but VAR disagree. They agree with the referee that there's no penalty. I don't really see the difference there in that one and the first one. Really, it's very, very similar. But nonetheless, we play on. No penalty. Perisic. Cross from the left-hand side into the hands of Flecken. Simple enough catch for the Brentford keeper. From that cross, not one of their most threatening crosses. Just ignore the map there. It just said something about a red card. There's been no... nothing in terms of red cards or anything of the sort being dealt with here. Brentford ready to make their 5th and final change of the game. It might be a defensive change, it looks like. That's another foul committed. It's Nathan Collins. It's fouled this time by James Maddison again. Referee keeping an eye on Maddison. That's a few fouls he's made on a yellow card. Won't have many more to make before he might see a second yellow. That's a foul by Rico Henry. So free kick Spurs. Last 10 minutes of the game here at the Gtech. Still hanging in the balance at 2-2. Emerson Royal. Kulishevsky back to Sanchez. Just to update you on the half-time scores from the Scottish Premiership games. Nothing to report, basically. Both 0-0. Hearts 0, Kilmarnock 0, Motherwell 0, Hibernian 0 at half-time. Ivan Perisic. Blocked away by Brentford again. Really good to recover it. And here's Roerslev. Trying to find Damsgaard, but quick recovery by Van de Ven to clear it into the stands. Brentford have a throw on the right-hand side. Roerslev to take. Throws it to Collins. Back to Pinnock. And now Christoph Ayer. And Burmo. Damsgaard. Cross from Damsgaard. Just slightly too deep. Simple enough catch for the Spurs keeper Vicario. It's a nice idea, but dealt with by Spurs. Well, last season, Spurs conceded 63 goals. That's the second most ever in a Premier League season for Spurs. Only beaten by 66 in 1990s. So still 2-2. 8 minutes plus any additional time to go. I'm sure there'll be quite a bit. We had 11 additional minutes in the first half. Not afraid to do that. And then we have another game coming up for you at 4:30. We'll be live from 4:20 with the game. Live audio commentary for that one. Here's Udogie. Perisic. Udogie. Back to Ivan Perisic. Right-footed cross in. Headed on. And the power wasn't behind it from Pape Sarr there. And into the hands of Mark Flecken. He goes for the long clearance. Shadow with the header. To flick it on for himself. Battling with Sanchez. And Sanchez comes out on top that time. And Van de Ven back to his goalkeeper. The Spurs look to build again. Both teams have not really seen the initiative to go for the winner at the minute. They're not throwing caution to the wind just yet. Pape Sarr. Kulishevsky. With the cross from Kulishevsky. And Perisic was there waiting, but just too high for him. He was all the way through for a goal kick. And Brentford will be making their 5th and final change now. And it will be Christopher Ayer that will leave the pitch. And he will be replaced, that is, by Matthias Jorgensen. So it's all 5 changes made by Brentford. They'll be probably holding out for the draw. Maybe nick it if they can. Flecking with the long ball. Spurs win the first header by Van de Ven. Second header won in the midfield by Brentford. Nice hold-up play by Mbeumo, who's taken down. And Udogie is the man who committed the foul. So free kick to Brentford inside the Spurs half. An opportunity for them to deliver another ball into the box. Leaves Basuma has been massively involved for Spurs. 127 touches, the most of any Spurs player this afternoon. Had a very good game. Basuma making an impact. Of course, he wasn't in favour under the previous manager, but he seems to be performing well under Ange Postecoglou so far. Free kick for Brentford. Damsgaard and Mbeumo over it again. It's Damsgaard to deliver it this time. Same result. Clearance at the front post. Similar clearance to the first chance, but they will recycle it again. And Mbeumo through the legs of Perisic, but Royal was there to cover. Throw in Brentford. 5 minutes plus additional time to go. Get your last votes in for the result prediction. We're going to close that poll in just a moment. So if anybody hasn't voted, this is your last chance to do so. So a chance for Jorgensen to take the throw. It'll be a long throw for Brentford. Can they threaten from this? Unique set piece kind of delivery. Whipped in. First header won by Brentford. Strike by Roerslev blocked. Flicked on by Janelt. Jorgensen with the delivery. Almost finding its way in from Jorgensen's delivery itself. And palmed away by Vicario. There was a claim for a Spurs handball maybe in there. Maybe VAR will check that. I don't know what that's all about, but we'll hear more in a moment. Jorgensen with the ball over the top. A chase and Shada comes out. The goalkeeper comes out for it. Shada was running in behind and a strike from Shada over the bar. And Vicario a bit nervous there. And see this again. It's Jorgensen with the ball over the top. Shada makes the run in behind. Vicario feels that he can get there. Shada takes the strike before Vicario gets there and then does collide with the Brentford number 9 afterwards. But I don't think there's much in that, to be fair. So the poll has concluded. And the vast majority of the chat, 55% predicting a Spurs win. At the moment, only 13% are in the correct zone at the moment, with a draw looking the likely result. As it stands, it is still 2-2. Into the last 3 minutes of normal time. Is there late drama to come at the Gtech? The home crowd trying to spur their side on to try and force a winner. Of course, the game should have been concluded by now, but we had an early delay. We had 11 minutes of added time. We've had a lot of setbacks here because we're in within 30 minutes of the next game starting in the Premier League now. Well, we'll see how long will be added on at the end of this second half. It'll be a quick turnaround between the two games. The 4:30 kickoff. Chelsea v Liverpool. You can watch it live here. Live audio commentary, live match mapping here on LFS. Kickoff 4:30. And this afternoon, join us for that one. In about a half an hour's time. Ball out to the right-hand side. Roerslev takes it down. One back nicely by Spurs in the middle. Here's Perisic with the ball in behind. Run across by Madison. Madison with a cut back for Richarlison. Blocked. Jorgensen was there to stop Richarlison having a clean strike at it. And did so quite well. And Spurs player goes down. Brandon Burmo with a possible challenge. I don't think there's much in that either, but it's a lovely win back by Spurs. Really good feinted ball in behind by Perisic. Madison makes the run in behind, cuts it back for Richarlison. He just opens his right foot and takes the strike at it, but he shouldn't have took a strike because there was a player. He just set himself and just blocked it with ease. Not the best of centre forward play there from Richarlison, but here he has it again. Back to Royal, who keeps possession. On the right-hand side with Kulishevsky. Can Spurs force any late drama? Mickey van der Ven. Madison. Perisic. To Udogie. And Perisic trying to link up, but the last touch of a Brentford player will give Spurs a corner. Last 20 seconds of the 90. We'll see how much additional time we will have at the end of this half. We had 11 in the first half. Fourth official, Jared Gillett, is about to hold up the board on the sidelines to let us know. There will be 4 minutes additional time, but that corner's delivered. Half cleared and Spurs tried to follow it up, but cleared away by Brentford. 4 additional minutes. Minuscule compared to the first half. So we've had overall 15 additional minutes in this game. So we played a 105-minute game overall. Here's Bissouma. Perisic. Still time for a winner to be found for either team. Madison on the break. Running through. Kulishevsky keeps it alive. The pass a bit short to Richarlison. Picked up by Udogie. Bissouma. Royal with the delivery in. Emerson Royal. Richarlison tries to head it, but cleared away. Royal tries to recover. Spurs trying to keep the possession, but Damsgaard carries it away, but only momentarily as Spurs win it back through Pape Sarr. Royal. Kulishevsky. Infield to Sarr. Royal. Spurs just working it around the outskirts of this 18-yard box of Brentford, trying to find any little pocket of space that they can force the ball into. Madison. Udogie. Across to Mickey van der Ven. All the Spurs players except the goalkeeper deep in the Brentford half. With just over 2 minutes to go. Madison. Right-footed delivery in from Madison. Headed away by Pinnock. Kept alive by Pape Sarr. And now Bissouma. Sarr. Van der Ven. Udogie. Perisic. Trying for the 1-2 with the give and go from Udogie, but Udogie beaten off the ball there by Nathan Collins. But it will be a Spurs throw. And they'll go for the long throw with Perisic. Trying to force a scramble in that Brentford box. 90 seconds to go. Perisic with a long throw. Headed away at the front post by Brentford. Recovered by Udogie. Perisic has it again on the left. Battling with Ruslev and just about cleared away by Brentford. And all their bodies back. Spurs have all their outfield players forward. It's Spurs pushing for the late winner. Just over a minute to go. Still 2-2. Just a bit of a battle at the moment, and Spurs trying to force it in behind. Cleared away by Flecken. Only a half clearance though. Bissouma. Udogie. Madison. Trying to thread it through 10 bodies there. But Spurs being held out quite comfortably at the moment. Pressure on them defensively now. Sanchez being pressed. Royal. Sanchez. Has to go back to Vicario. Is there one more chance in this game for a winner? Vicario with a long ball forward. Richarlison with the first header. Cleared away by Pinnock. Brought down nicely by Brentford, and a free kick goes the way of Spurs after Janelt is brought down. Basuma wins the free kick. A bit of afters, but this will be probably the last chance of the game. The last kick of the game. Here at the Gtech. As the free kick's taken. And that's the final whistle from Rob Jones. The spoils are, or the honours even here between Brentford and Spurs to open their season, both with a point apiece. Neither could force a winning goal at the end of the game. A goalless second half, but a very exciting first half with all the goals. It's ended level here at the Gtech for the opening weekend of the season. Brentford 2, Spurs 2.